Welcome to the only wrestling podcast that covers the WWE developmental system from its inception to modern day. From OVW to MCW, the HWA, Deep South, FCW, and much more. Hosted by Brian Asbury and Mortimer Blankenship. Now let's dive into what could have been, what should have been. Welcome to Developmentally Speaking.
Hey, before we get in this episode, can you do us a favor? Will you go ahead and subscribe to the channel?
Will you ring that notification bell?
And if you would, give this video a like. Well, enough of that mumbo jumbo. Let's get to the episode.
Let's talk developmentally speaking, glow up, and connecting through wrestling.
Hey everybody, I'm Morty.
And I'm Brian.
And on today's episode of Developmentally Speaking, we have Sinn Bodhi. Sinn, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good. Doing great. Thank you for coming on. Start with the same question I start every episode with. It could be the most boring, the most interesting, the longest or shortest answer. What made you get into professional wrestling?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Long story short, loved it as a kid. I was kind of stuck in this little ranch house growing up, so I couldn't go across the street or next door neighbors to go play. So I was, kind of a bit of a hermit. And so comic books and Saturday morning wrestling is kind of what spoke to me. And, they're both extensions of each other. One was just the live action version, and one was the illustrated version. But they both totally piqued my imagination and curiosity. And boom, bada bing, the rest is history.
I love that. I love that answer because professional wrestling is the battle of good versus evil, just like comic books, and they're superheroes.
It is when it's done well.
Yeah.
It is when it's done well.
Yeah.
I being a little artsy fartsy, introverted, shy kid, kind of being trapped in that little ranch house was a blessing and a curse. I think it fed those creative juices, just got my brain just kind of painting pictures, telling stories. And I swear I could go to dream and dream a Star Wars movie that never existed. I just have that kind of, weird stuff going on in my brain. And even my daydreams are usually even 10 times more impressive than my bedtime stuff. If I'm sitting there talking to you, when you watch Iron Man and you see, what's his face, Sherlock Holmes there, Martin Downey, Scorsese Jr., whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And he, as Iron Man, he's moving those things across the screen like he's moving all those hologrammy computer things. And that's kind of like my brain in real life. It's just not computery. It's just whatever.
That's cool.
You can see Donald Duck humping Daffy Duck on a giant pizza to the left of you, and I see, I see stormtroopers doing a country dance over on the other side of you, and I see all these different things. I see Triple H, running around kicking Mickey Mouse in the head. My visuals just don't stop. Okay. So when I was a kid, all the comic books and the wrestling just really just fueled all that.
Oh yeah. That definitely sounds like a creative gift then.
It's a gift and a curse. I never, I don't judge anybody for, what kind of chemicals they do or do not put into their body. But every time anybody always asked me if I partook, I said, no, if anything, you got anything that's going to dumb me down a little bit? Right. I don't need anything to enhance. If anything, I just need something to relax. But that's why I've more or less been a straight edge guy my whole life.
Right.
Again, to use a kind of a nerdy superhero reference, in one of those Marvel movies where they ask Spider-Man, hey, doesn't that mask mess with you? And he goes, no. He goes, I'm so all over the place that it really just kind of helps dial me in and focus. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, having a glass of red wine or something like that, or just relaxing and dumbing down, watching a movie or a cartoon before I go to sleep is the only way my brain sort of settles. Otherwise, it's a hornet's nest between these two ears, and I couldn't sleep on the best of days. So I have to sort of zone in and watch a wrestling match or watch a TV show or a movie or a cartoon or something, so I can just, hate the bad guy, you cheer for the good guy, fall in love with the girl, do everything you're supposed to do on that storytelling ride. And that sort of dumps down all my other crazy thoughts about, again, Mickey Mouse and getting drop kicked by Triple H and whatever's going on in my brain and, all that jazz. So,
for sure.
There you go.
So, let's talk about your developmental time.
How did all that come about?
Yeah, how did that come about?
So I was working non-contract at OVW under Al Snow, Danny Davis, Rip Rogers, and Robert Gibson was there as well. And Danny and Al were kind of running the show. And so before I got to OVW, I had wrestled Al Snow a few times, who was the head of OVW or some sort, like a head coach anyway. And wrestled him a few times. And he was just like, man, he goes, you would be really good at OVW. And you've got enough experience where I could kind of let you help me babysit some of the younger, bigger, more athletic guys that need kind of steering around. And you could kind of take a bit of that burden off of me so I could not be so spread thin in the locker room. But at the same time, you're still young enough where I could teach you plenty in return. And he goes, Vince watches those TV tapes every week, or Vince's guys do anyway. So he was just like, so if you want to come down, you're invited. And then I was sort of on kind of like in a pickle where I was just deciding if I wanted to move to OVW and do that, or if I wanted to move to England for full time and work on those shows, because with holiday camps and traveling over into Europe and just different shows all over the place, you could wrestle every day of the week. And so I kind of had to make that decision. And I was calling Al, and he wasn't picking up the phone. I was calling Al, and he wasn't picking up the phone. And at the time, I don't know what his voice message sounds like these days, but at the time, he had that Quagmire voice on as his answering machine, and it was something like, "Hey, if you're an 18-year-old girl and you want to learn how to wrestle, leave me a message, giggity giggity," And so I just, in the most, Sinn Bodhi-esque voices, I was just like, "Al, I'm an 18-year-old girl. I'm interested in learning how to wrestle. Why don't you call me back?" he called me back laughing about fucking 2 seconds later, and he's like, "Yeah, get your ass down here, kid." And so I did, and I want to say maybe not quite 6 months into my time at OVW, Nova had called, and I was the last to know about it. So Mike Bucci, Nova, Simon Dean, he was the hiring guy at the time for WWE. And I come walking into the building, and I just see Danny Davis looking at me like a little kid, like giggling, kind of like, kind of making this subtle, not so subtle, like really kid looking, like hand in the cookie jar kind of face, and I walk along and I see Robert Gibson, and Robert Gibson looks like a giant fucking little kid. I'm like, what is these guys' problems? And I see Al Snow, and Al's looking at me like a giant little kid. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, And then Danny's like, "Hey, come into my office for a second. There's a phone call for you." I'm like, that's weird. I'm thinking, what, am I getting deported, or what's going on? What did I do now? And Nova, Mike Bucci, is on the phone, and he goes, "Hey, I got a question for you." He goes, "You want to live in Louisville, or you want to live in Tampa?" I was like, "What?" And he just kind of takes this big, deep breath, and he goes, "Look, you son of a bitch, what I'm telling you is you got a fucking job. Where do you want to live?" And I'm like, I'm looking over my shoulder, so Al or Gibson or Davis don't like chop me or something. I'm like, "Get me the fuck out of here." I like the topic. And no, I love Louisville. I'm just playing. I love Louisville, but my heart was always in Florida. I always was a beach bum at heart. And when I was a little kid, my grandparents had a place in Florida, and my parents and my little brother would travel down there about once a year or so, sometimes maybe a couple times a year. And I would spend my summers in Florida. I just loved being on the beach. So any excuse to be down there, I'm going to live my dreams and live in tropical paradise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll go with door number one. Door number one, please. And so I said, "Okay, Florida. Yeah, that sounds great." And he goes, "All right." He goes, "We're going to send you the paperwork and all that stuff." And since I'm Canadian born, and I was on work visas and stuff like that, but you have to, WWE's legal is pretty stringent and all that stuff. So they want to give me all the new work visas, the latest, whatever they need to get me. And so I've got to go back to Canada for a couple months until the legal is sorted out. And then from there, they shipped me on down to Florida once that came through. And it was weird because originally I was supposed to be on I want to say it was like an O visa, which not to put myself over or anything, but O stands for extraordinary. You know, if you are a non-American that can do something that no other American can do, that's why they give you that work visa, because otherwise why would they be hiring an American for that gig? So since I was the only pro wrestling 250-pound sideshow freak that they wanted to get their hands on that happened to be a snow Mexican, then they were like, oh, yeah, we need him to get a visa, so we're going to rush that through, and that's going to go super quick. I can make those jokes because I am a snow Mexican, by the way. Well, just for all the triggered snow Mexicans listening, for all you whatever Canadians, just shut up. I'm a snow Mexican, so shut up. So anyway, so somehow something in the legal department, they didn't file something correctly, and it was taking too long, so they just rushed me in with what I guess is a P1 visa, which is just a whatever regular visa, which kind of, it was cool that I was going to get to live my dreams, but it was shittier because the P1 visa does not entitle you to as much money. Because if you're extraordinary, you make extraordinary money. But when you're a P1, I guess you just make piss off. So, so they sent me down there on a very, very modest check where I was taking my visa payments out of said modest check, and that was kind of my flight path to Tampa to wrestle for FCW.
What was the major difference between OVW and FCW?
Oceans and palm trees.
Oh yeah.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I loved training with Al and Rip and Robert Gibson and all the guys and stuff. It was great. There was a lot of bleed over of the guys, like the talent that was back and forth from OVW or coming from OVW going to FCW. And so I knew a lot of those guys and girls back and forth. But it was just different coaches, and it was a little bit kind of higher budge. It was a little bit more up the echelon. Like OVW's wonderful, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. But it was like Vince had wanted it to sort of be geared to, making these guys and girls ready for TV. So they kind of did a lot more, I guess, TV-oriented, TV parallels things that they were doing at Raw and SmackDown at the time. They would sort of simulator flight, that kind of stuff down at FCW. Right. And there you go. I can see my lights getting really dark, so I'm going to just walk inside. Unless if this is bugging you, I will go inside. If it's not bugging you, I'll stay put. But
I'm looking at the computer right now, and it's getting. We could still make out the right side, your left side of your face, and it's not that bad. I mean,
so why don't I just be a team player and go inside?
Okay.
How's that?
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Oh, look at that.
Man.
Woo.
Yeah, there you go. My wife was creeping behind me. She was like walking. You probably see like a little midget Jawa chippy chilling behind me. Okay, so here I am. I am in my office. I don't know where my little stand is for my phone, so pardon me. I'll just Carney hold my.
Oh, I gotta ask about the LJNs. Like,
sure.
How do you do it? How do you make them look so good? Like, we're friends on Facebook, and I've been seeing your posts, and wow, they're.
Well, I guess the short answer is magic.
Oh, okay.
Something to do with elves, something to do with voodoo, something to do with maybe some 3D sculpting programs and some 3D printers. But honestly, I do it a lot of different ways. Like when the pandemic hit and we're all crawling walls looking for things to do, I sold my original LJN set like in that first week. Well, during those 2 weeks of flattening the curve, my worker Spidey Sense Jedi powers told me to be as liquid as possible because who knows what's in store.
Right.
And so I sold. And I'm sorry, my little dog is stealing my feet by chewing on her, squeaking her chewy toy during this lovely podcast. So I apologize if. I mean, I guess there should be squeaky toy noises while you're interviewing me. That probably makes sense. But anyway, so I sold that collection, and I had so many tunes that were like 1980s childhood nostalgia, heartbroken. Like, bro, you sold your dolls. No. They were all so upset. I was upset too, but at the same time, just kind of making sure I had, money to feed my family seems a lot more important than having rubber dolls. So
Absolutely.
and when I say it out loud, maybe not so much, but in my head, it makes more sense.
Right. But yeah, once
Right.
One,
And so I just kind of started like after I sold the initial set, like I had the whole big huge collection, everything from Sergeant Slaughter on the way down, all the holy grail of those LJNs,
that's amazing.
and then so I had dabbled in customizing like maybe a decade ago. I did it for like 10 seconds, and then I got too busy with my wrestling schedule, so I just never did it. And so I thought, okay, I got rid of that set, so I'm gonna go look in the garage and see what I've got. And I had a whole bunch of like old kind of beat up ones, and doubles, triples, quadruples of some of the cheaper ones. And I thought maybe since I'm trapped in my home for the unforeseeable future, I'm going to send out and kind of work on some of these customs. So it started out pretty archaic, and then I think just trial and error, got a little better, and I learned how to cast and mold, and I learned how to I always butcher the term. It's like rotospan, where you cast a figurine's head, like a smaller head, and then you put it in this gunk, and then it expands the mold, and then you recast the expanded mold, and then now you've got a bigger head. So like I would take these little Hasbro or G.L.O.W heads or whatever, and then I would throw them in the dip and grow them, and then I'd cast them again, and so they'd be LJN size.
Well, that's cool.
And then I just neat weird science, and I just chop off heads and arms and legs of these rubber old vintage toys, ones that were all beat up, and put these new cast and molded heads on and sculpt, with clay or epoxy or whatever, different stuff. Put on I basically play Barbies with them, I just put little vests or jackets or robes or whatever the heck they needed, and then I started getting into the 3D printing, which kind of just took that to a whole new level. And now most of the ones you see these days are head to toe 3D printed. Most of the time I sculpt the bodies. Sometimes I sculpt the heads. I got a couple of buddies. Tom Veg sculpts the heads. Mark Cochran sculpts the heads. A couple other guys. I've got a really cool little community, a little friendship of customizers that I'm very cool with, and they kind of helped keep me sane during the pandemic. And so thank you to those guys.
Absolutely.
I think
awesome.
Zash Man is one of those guys, so shout out to him. He's really, really cool dude. Todd Tomeo, Pete Arco. These are all just really good, talented sculptors and customizers that they can make WWE quality toys. Like I always get that in the comments, like, man, your stuff is as good as LJNs or better than LJNs, or why does WWE hire you to make toys? I'm like, I don't know. Rather than hire me to wrestle, I just make toys just because I'm a fucking asshole and I'm a giant child, and that's what giant children do, I guess. But I'd rather just beat up grown men in spandex for a living, if truth be told, But selling toys for other like-minded, nostalgic 80s kids is cool by me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But weirdly, I just did it as a hobby, and then I had people just go, hey, would you sell me one of those? And then I'm like, oh, sure I can. Why not? And then so I did. I sold one, I sold two, and et cetera. And now, usually what happens nowadays is like if I post Road Warriors or Papa Shango or whoever, or some old-timey guy that maybe a lot of the younger guys don't know, I might sell them, might not sell them. Some of them I'll sell a bunch of them. But really what happens is more indie guys or fans will just be like, hey, could you make one of me? And I say, yes, I can. And then I do, and I make a couple bucks, and it helps feed the family. So there you go.
I'll be messaging you on Facebook.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah, I would love to do it.
I would love to have a nice little fat ass Morty figure. It'd be awesome. It'd be great.
You got a little rubber Paul Orndorff body waiting for you, my friend. And just what we go off of Michelangelo rules. That sculpture was in that block of marble or whatever that was the whole time, and just
right.
Michelangelo just chipped away the excess.
Those
abs, those biceps, that big huge dingling, all that stuff was all there in the first place.
Yeah,
just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, fantastic. So, you touched on being trained with Rip. I don't know if you know this or not. We're from Seymour, Indiana. We are from Rip Rogers' hometown, and
Rip Rogers to country, yeah.
Yeah, so we've grown up with Rip being one of our wrestling heroes. So
we've done a couple shows with him too, and learned a couple of his favorite words.
Yeah.
I always got along so great with Rip. Mm-hmm. He is definitely, a dying breed. Mm-hmm. Man, oh man, they don't build dudes like that anymore. Let me tell you, like, it's weird. Guys like him and like Jake the Snake and like, Dr. D, David Schultz, like these are just, there's just no creatures like that anymore. Like, he's just, I joke and call myself like a demolition man when I walk into class and I just see how young and kind of how, whatever the new generation of guys. And I'm sweet. I'm nice about it. I think I'm kind of like Johnny from Cobra Kai preaching Miyagi-Do, but I know that, the delivery system can sometimes be a little bit harsh for young, soft ears. But when you hear what I say versus like what a Rip or what a Dr. D or what a Jake would say, man, oh man, their mouth words will curl your toes. Oh, let me tell you. Yeah. Like, did he really just say that? Like, holy shit, did he just say that? I can tell you funny Rip stories. I will not incriminate Rip Rogers on here, but man, he could say some stuff, boy. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But I mean, just packed full of knowledge and a good dude. Like, he means well. I don't mean to keep on getting my monkey paws in front of your screen there. Okay. I'm just kind of holding up my phone and basically being a fidgety giant child, and I keep on seeing my thumb wave across the screen like a Jaws fin or something. It's like dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. We took Rip to a convention in Indianapolis,
the Squared Circle Expo,
and it took about 10 minutes before
he walked. he heard that who was it? Deanna Perrazzo and Reba. Mm-hmm. Or Rebel, not Rebel. What? We're in a room behind us, and he just popped up and was like, I gotta go talk to them. And Von Lilas was walking with him, went in there, and he said, what's up? A certain word. And they popped up, looked around, and they're like, oh, Rip, if it was anybody else, we'd be mad.
The fans were just like, what? But that's
so I won't say the word. I use the word all the time. I guess maybe Rip Rogers by osmosis has done this to me. But I mean, all the students that I know, I'd like to think they all know that I am very well intentioned, but I like to cuss, And so I remember Rip. I'm sitting there, I was just shaking my head. Even for me, I'm like, geez, Louise, what's going on? So there's a couple of now very famous wrestling ladies. Okay, I dare call them divas. They were in that era, but they were and past that. So not gonna say who they were, but they're kind of just wrestling around, and they're kind of phoning it in, I guess, a little bit. And Rip just goes, "Well, C words. Are you gonna wrestle like C words, or are you gonna wrestle like pros?" And they go, "What?" And he goes, "Are you gonna act like a C word? Are you gonna work like a dude?" And they just looked at each other and they locked up like two fucking.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he's just like as if like, see my, using his little Aquaman telepathy. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I got through to them,
Yeah.
And that's like, holy smokes, my goodness. But it was awesome. I mean, I've heard him say the funniest stuff, but I mean, he is literally chock full of knowledge, and he's just a dying breed, and it will be a sad day when Rip Rogers is no longer playing on Earth, and I hope he's got many, 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 many years in front of him. Now, the old-timey guys, they're stubborn as hell. They don't know when to do the job ever. They're gonna keep on kicking out till the cows come home, let me tell you. And I wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, it's a shame that more trainers aren't allowed to just kind of kick the gas. Like, I'm a pretty nice trainer. I push the envelope. I do not tear the envelope. Mm-hmm. I really want my students to know, look, you can come up to me and ask me anything. The only stupid question is a question I'd ask. I'm never going to get mad at you if you say or do something. The only thing that'll get me hot from a student is if you're being reckless with somebody. Like, if you make a legit mistake out of concern, then so be it. There's a bunch of dumb fuckery to be had in wrestling, let alone in life. Make all your mistakes with good intentions and we'll be good. If it takes you forever and a day to learn it, or you learn it in the first try, either way, I don't care. It's your attitude and your well intentions that will keep me in a good mood. But safety, because you're learning to draw or paint or play video games or whatever you're knitting sweaters, whatever it is that you're learning. There's room for error. You wreck a sweater, or you wreck a picture on a sketchbook, you can rip off the page and start a new page. You make a mistake in the ring and somebody's paralyzed or somebody's dead. Yeah. At very worst, somebody gets a boo-boo, and at the very least, I mean, pardon my backwardsness. But like every time I see a wrestler dump somebody on their face to their neck, oh boy, it just gets me hot. I just want to kind of reach to the TV or in the locker room. I grip my teeth, just like, don't do anything to get yourself in trouble. Don't do it. Just because if you go up and tell that idiot that they're an idiot, they're just going to pull up and be even more idiotic. And then you're going to have to smash them. And then they're going to sue you because they're going to be a little punk little wiener. And then nobody's getting any benefit out of it. So it's best just to sort of survival of the fittest, not let anybody drop me on my head. So there's that. But I hate when I see guys and girls do that just for not caring. I see it by accident, and I'm like, well, that really sucks, but they didn't do it on purpose. But you can tell when somebody's just being a dipshit, and that's super not cool. And so I teach safety, and more safety, and maybe a bit of psychology along the way while I sprinkled upon my safety.
Yeah. So where can they find your school at?
I teach at the Future Stars of Wrestling in Las Vegas. There's a big Facebook page. There's fswnetwork.com. And then I'm easily find outable on my social media. It's all Sinn Bodhi, SINNBODHI on my Facebook, on the Twitter, on the Instagram, Sinn Bodhi on all of those things. And I'm always posting about Future Stars of Wrestling. And then online, we do the online school that's the Snake Pit. That's what we kind of, myself, Dr. Tom, Gangrel, Cody Hawk, Tyson Dukes, Snow, Truth Martini, whole bunch of silly characters got together at the beginning of the pandemic. And again, we just knew, this more shit isn't going to be over in 2 weeks. So maybe we could turn this little, like a private page, like a student page that was really more for, hey, classes are at such and such time, doing a flyering for shows at this time, blah, blah, ring crews at this time. So we opened it to the masses. Like it's a private page, but we opened it to wrestlers and we turned it into a learning hub where we had to figure out, like, beginning of the pandemic, none of us coaches knew what a Facebook Live was. Like we're cavemen, Why would we know about, the computers? So we got together and we just started kind of dropping knowledge to A, for sure teach people the right way, but B, and maybe this is actually A and not B. Maybe B is teaching people the proper way, and A was distracting people from being rats in cages for 2 years.
Right.
And so I can tell you, like, people ask me, oh, what's your proudest match? What's your big accomplishment? Or what's your favorite thing? And I've got cool matches with cool people in front of cool places in front of other cool people, and that's all great and good. But I think one of my most personal, proudest things to do in the Snake Pit, because to this day, when I get to indie shows, there's not a show that goes by that I don't get some wrestler, some young wrestler that I do not know, I've never met, come over and say, hey, coach, thanks for the Snake Pit. It kept me sane during the pandemic. And I'm like, yeah, we got awesome knowledge, but we look forward to you every day at noon. You're on there, relentlessly, and other coaches were on there, and he's like, so all these wrestlers, so thank you for that. And that was just like, that to me is worth any gold Strizap or winning any fancy award or whatever like that. I don't need any rewards for love of the game. Love of the game is reward enough. Gang, I always kind of use Gangrel Cody. He's one of my dear brothers, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that I owe wrestling everything. It owes me nothing. So if a wrestling promoter from any of the smallest to the biggest companies was to put a title on me, I'd say awesome. If I was to never get a title, awesome. Happy to be on the show. I'm happy to put smiles on faces, good guy or bad guy, and I just want to help, get back to my industry and train like-minded individuals to carry that on when I'm worm food and Rip Rogers is stomping, doing a jig on top of my grave because he's gonna fucking outlive all of us. So that's kind of where I like my legacy. I think once I finally croak, I think people go, yeah, he's creative, yeah, he was nice, yeah, he was super duper good looking, no doubt. But I really will want my legacy to be like, man, that guy gave a shit about us and gave a shit about wrestling and cared about putting smiles on faces. Like, again, in my travels, and I see hardworking people, and like I work hard when it comes to being a professional giant child. When it comes to wrestling, I bust my fucking ass. But I would suck in real life. Like, if you ask me to ask if you want fries with that for the rest of your life, like, those are the real humans, and those are the ones that I am just hell bent on entertaining and putting smiles on faces, because I could do all my push-ups and my squats and all my weights and jog and do all this stuff and then train in the ring and take all my bumps in the ring and take all that wear and tear from travel and blah, 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 blah. As hard as that is, there ain't nothing harder than asking if you want fries with that for the rest of your life, or punching that clock in that factory or that, whatever, wherever you are doing like honest work. So
I asked if people wanted fries for 15 years.
On those motherfuckers' faces. What's that?
I asked if people wanted fries with that for 15 years, so I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's why we did this to tell people like you, thank you. We appreciate you for taking us for relieving us from the doldrums of life, and taking us to a whole nother world, really, to the comic book world. In the real world is professional wrestling, and like you said at the beginning, and that's why we did this is to not only to spread the message that these people did way more than what they did when they made it to the big main stage. They've done more than that, but
they're not defined by what.
Yeah.
Well, like when I remember, soon into the pandemic when they deemed WWE what was the right term I'm looking for? Like an essential business or an essential whatever. And some people thought that was great, and some people thought that was horseshit. I thought it was awesome because you're crawling the fucking walls, going bonkers. Like, humans are social creatures. They need to be engaged. They need to be around other creatures. And when they're stuck, like, I don't have a mansion or anything, but I have a nice big home. I actually, weirdly, on a side note, I live in one of the old Warren Jeffs compounds. Like, I live in an old polygamy sex compound is what my actual home in Las Vegas. Yeah. That's a whole TV show.
That is awesome.
Dude, there's bedroom after bedroom after bath. There's dueling bathrooms, like, because like Warren Jeffs had, 5 billion wives and 5 bajillion kids, and they're all doing their weird, whatever they were doing, whatever. But anyway, so that's my home. It's like fucking Castle Grayskull on the edge of Las Vegas. Like, I live exactly where you think the Warlord of Weird should live. It's an awesome place. It's awesome. I've got all these critters here. I love my chickens and my dogs and my snakes, and I got a giant tortoise about the size of a lawnmower. I play with all these critters. My awesome wife and my awesome kid. I got all these toys. I got all sorts of dumb shit to play around here with. And I was crawling the walls. So I cannot imagine what some young 25-year-old dude or girl or whoever was in some little box apartment, some little bachelorette apartment somewhere, not with anybody, and the only people they would get to see is maybe if they ventured out to the grocery store once a week or something, or the bodega once a week or whatever the case was. So I just kind of thought, like, man, it's super duper important to be essential, because our sanity is essential. Yes, we need to eat, super essential. Yes, we need to have the heat or the AC on or whatever to keep us from not frying or not freezing or whatever. Okay, essential, all that jazz, but sanity too, And I see so many people squawking, well, they're going to get themselves sick, or they're going to get me sick. Well, these are like some of the best athletes in the world. I'm pretty sure, that if anybody's going to stand a good chance, it's them. And they're consenting. They're consenting to risk themselves to put smiles on faces. So how's about those people that were squawking about it? How's about shut your front door and enjoy their charity,
Absolutely.
And anytime you ever hear some little hipster D-bag squawking about this, that, or the other, they're the same little wieners that their knees are knocking when they meet us in an airport and ask for a fucking autograph. So when good people ask, I'm down to do it. And when shitty people ask, I'm still down to do it, but it just makes me kind of giggle inside knowing this is the same little Mark that's going to be a dickhead online as soon as he gets home. Nice to meet you, sir. And then they go online, I fucking hated Kazarni,
It's real.
Same, like I hate John Cena. They would pee themselves if John Cena walked over and put his arm around it. Hey, bro, buy you a beer? They'd be like, oh my God, I don't know what you do. And then they'd fucking faint like a fucking little goat, There would be 2 goats in that situation. The goat and a fainting goat. Goats. So I just, I crack my jokes. I like to play and be facetious and everything. But I truly, truly feel that the wrestlers are entertainers are put on the planet to put smiles on faces. End of story.
Well, at the beginning of this, you said that you had to go to CAC, right? So
Yeah.
we're going to go ahead and end the interview here. And thank you so much again for doing it. We would love to talk to you again in the future.
Anytime.
For sure.
Anytime. Yeah, I'm getting everything ready for CAC. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be in California in a couple days. I got a nice little wrestler ready to go that he thinks he's going to take a round or two out of the old Warlord of Weird here. But I think once I kayfabe the Santa beard with clown paint, magic happens. So again, there's a dun 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 dun. I didn't mean to get my gorilla paws on your screen there.
One thing before we do go, I loved you on Penn and Teller.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that was amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
hey, okay. I'll close out with this. We say the old school guys say in the match, when you get the match to a certain peak, once you get it to that peak of the mountain, take it home. It's not getting any better from there. So I'll leave you with this. This will be the first place that I really break this. Okay. So you're getting the exclusive. All right. So in advance, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So we did the Penn and Teller thing, and it was fun. It was really cool, and those guys have been in my social circle for a long time, or I've been in theirs. And but after that, I really became cool buddies with Teller, and they were both wonderful to work with, and really, really sweet, great human beings, and super talented. They are the Jake the Snakes of magic. Like nothing's getting past those guys. Mm-hmm. And so where's it going? Oh yeah, okay. So we put up the stuff that we're doing the same, more or less something similar to that on America's Got Talent. They called us, okay, no problem. So me and one of the Freak Show Wrestling OGs, Shocker, a wonderful musician here in Las Vegas, a good friend of mine, he asked me to do the show. And I was kind of on the fence about it because I know a lot of like the Carnival guys have gone on the show, and usually, they can't heal on a little kid, or they can't heal on some old lady or something, but they can heal on a supervillain, So like they did that to Clownbus a couple of years back, and Clownbus is an awesome performer. He sounds just like Elvis, looks like he's a clown. He's got the big pompadour haircut like Elvis. He's awesome. He sings great. So they asked him, hey, could you sing? And he sings like, funny songs, or everybody sings it like perfectly like Elvis. So they go, hey, could you sing Old MacDonald Has a Farm? And he goes, sure, why? He goes, I got plenty of other songs and better songs. Well, it's copyright safe, blah, 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 whatever. She goes, okay, I'm a team player, I'll play ball. So he goes out there and he starts singing Old MacDonald, and So he realizes that he's getting jobbed out. So he just kicks out, and he goes right for Sharon Osbourne, who was one of the judges at the time, and said something about, he goes, man, if you're going to X me, you must have a contact high from your husband. and she got hot, and she bowed up, and she just cussing at him left and right, and he just kind of went with it, took it with a grain of salt. So I've known a few performers, really great performers, world record holders, just awesome performers that would go onto that show and get jammed up because, again, it's, rather heal on some person that looks like a Batman villain than heal on some cute little kid or some such. So that makes sense. I get it. So they asked me to do the show. I go, okay. So Shocker said, so we're going to do pretty much what we're doing on Penn and Teller. And so we don't know that when it's going to air because they don't tell us anything. We're not supposed to talk about it till after the season, but it's after the season. So fuck you, Simon. And there we go with that. And we're going to take any heat out somebody. I'll take it on that D-bag. So we're going to do this deal. They're all excited. The producers are excited. The producers are great. They're awesome. I actually knew one of the producers from WWE. He was there when I was Czarny. Really great dude. And they're all excited. They put the ring up and everything, blah, blah, blah. And so Shocker looks at me and goes, hey, if this goes sideways for whatever reason with the judges or whatever, if they disqualify us, go after the judges. You don't have to kill them or anything, but just go make them nervous. And then we'll get Terry Crews to kind of get in between you and run you off. And it's the bad guys, cross the bear to always have to tuck tail and scamper into the sunset. Curses, foiled again. So, okay. So we're coming along, and early into this thing, we're asking again, like the Penn and Teller thing, like, hey, you want to see a clothesline or a whatever? And Simon, and I guess also too, before the match even started, Simon is doing the interview with Shocker. Like, I'm the guy that runs in and attacks Shocker. So I'm not out there. Shocker is the one kind of baby facing the situation. And Shocker kind of outwits Simon Cow. And Simon's ego does not like that at all. And again, Shocker's not a cutesy little girl. Shocker is a dude in a mask and and ready to, he's the perfect guy to kick in the metaphoric nuts if Simon doesn't like it. So he gets a big laugh off of Simon, and Simon doesn't like it. So fast forward a couple of minutes, I kind of attack Shocker, throw him in the ring, we start doing our deal. And I say, Simon, do you want to see a clothesline or a body slam or whatever? And he's just like, oh, what? Like, look, you dumb fuck. What kind of red-blooded man doesn't know what a fucking clothesline is? Like, pick. What asshole in USA, let alone anywhere? I know he's from England, which I love England, but what asshole in England or America or States or fucking Mars that doesn't know what a clothesline or a body slam is? My grandma, rest her soul, knew what a fucking body slam was. She never watched a day of wrestling. So this
body slam's pretty self-explanatory.
I don't know, just being an asshole. So I kind of pick and whatever, and he goes, and I mean, we haven't done anything to, warrant good or bad. Like, it's the bad guy gets sympathy for the good guy gets everybody pissed off at the bad guy. It's kind of a symbiote. Very disgusting, really, when you think about a relationship between the good and evil to elicit emotional response from the fan. So next thing you know, I think, and the fans are cheering for Shocker, and they're booing me because I'm the bad guy. So I think these dumb fuck judges have no idea of, like, the fans are supposed to be booing right now to let Shocker kind of like Hulk his way up into kicking my ass. So they're booing silly, stupid supermodel chick. And by the way, ladies, once those supermodel looks go, I'll still be talented, and you won't be good looking anymore. So you'll be done. There you go. I'm not bitter. I'm just being cheeky. So there you go. And so so Shocker just looks at me. He's selling. I'm selling, and he goes, "Go get him." I go, "All right." And so I walk out, and I can be silly, but I can also be pretty darn scary when I want to be. And I just start slow walking to the judges. I hop right off the stage, which is an athletic leap as it is, where they were filming. There's about 2,000 people there. I hop off of this, I don't know, whatever it was, 7-foot stage, just like a, Doink the Clown bangs Spider-Man, 9 months later pops out Sinn Bodhi. And here I am, hopping off the stage and slow walking to these idiot judges. And I can see, like, what's his face, the guy that has been funny since I was born. What's his face? Andy
Howie Mandel?
Howie, my wife knew it. Howie Mandel. He starts kind of inches back into his seat, like, is this guy really for real? Is this guy crazy? He's gonna get us? He's going backwards. No. He's just sitting up in his seat like a, I don't know, whatever, like a kid listening to ghost stories at a campfire or something. And the two girls are just looking stupidly oblivious, like, is this guy gonna come and do something? We're hot. You can't attack hot people, like. And again, once you're old, you'll no longer be talented, because your youth is your skills, ladies. For you two ladies, other women across the planet, brilliant. I love women. They're smart. They're better than men at everything except maybe opening pickle jars. But those two ladies, dumb fucks. So anyway. And Simon even starts kind of itching back at the seat, going, "Whoa, mate, you better not. And I'm literally going, "For what, old man? You gonna not book me? You gonna X me again? You fucking C word? Whatever." I didn't cuss, but I was selling hot. I could give a shit, but I was selling hot, and I wasn't selling like cartoony, whatever. I was selling like, holy shit, this guy is gonna eat my face off. And so the producer, the judges legit know nothing about our act. Like, we're a total surprise. All the acts are a surprise, but the producers know what we're up to. And we told the producers to give Terry Crews a heads up. All she needs to do is, hey, if the clown starts walking to the judges, get in between them and bow up, he'll back off. And so as far as we knew, Terry Crews knew that. So I start walking, I'm looking in the corner of my eye, I'm like, where is this motherfucker, I don't really want to have to kill these 4 idiot judges. That's not much of a get, like, give me a real warrior, there is 50-50. But those 4 hens, it's like a fox in a hen house of 4 judges, okay? I'm going to shred these idiots. And everybody in the audience is like, oh. And I'm looking at Terry Crews, and they're like, Terry, you know, whatever. And I'm like, where's Terry Crews? I dare him to, you know, save you idiots, you know, whatever. And I look over, and Terry is not jumping down. Terry is not on the floor. Terry's in the wings, looking out of the corner of like the stage and going, "You leave them alone." And I just was like, this big scary dude looks like the biggest coward right now. And I don't want that for him. He was nice. The judges were dickheads, but he was nice. So I'm like, I don't want to make this guy look like the dickhead. But come on, man, work with me. You know, I'm like, and so as serious and as shoot as I looked, which I think is is an oxymoron, but to say like a work shoot, because if the work is good, it should look like a shoot.
Yeah, right.
So, right. So I'm looking, I'm like, I dare you to come and fucking, like, leave them alone. You leave them alone. Like he's 100 feet away from me, screaming from the wings, you know. And I'm like, come and fucking make me, you know. And you just leave them alone, good sir. You know. And I literally kind of started working. I looked at the audience. I'm like, you don't want to see me and Terry Crews? Everybody loses their fucking minds. I'm like, yes, we want to see Terry Crews kick your ass. We want to fuck you and all this stuff. And they wanted it so bad. And Terry, bless his soul, he is some producer has not smartened him up. You know, the plan is not going to kill you. Come rescue these 4 idiot judges. And he wasn't getting off the stage for nothing. I'm sure he likes those judges, but I'm sure he likes his own safety more than the safety of those 4 heads. So he doesn't do shit. And I'm just still slow walking, you know, like picture like Undertaker's entrance, but like all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Okay. So I'm walking as slow as he is, but I'm looking like I'm going to rip out of my skin, you know? And then finally, this little dude that's like, he's just one of the ADs with a headset, and he's going like, all right, we're going off air. I'm like, and I walk away. And like, I literally got like this close to the desk, and then I'm like, man, all right, we're off, I'm done. Fuck this. And then the four judges kind of like, ugh. And then I walked off, and the place was so loud. And I'm like, that's the response you're supposed to get, you idiots. And I walk in the back and I see Terry Crews. Terry's like, oh. And I go, hey, bro, nice to meet you. I don't know if you know or not, but if you had stepped onto that floor, I would have backed up for you, man. That's my job. He goes, oh, no. I know how wrestling works. I'm a big wrestling fan. I know how it works. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know that you do. And so I was just me and Shocker and AJ Kirsch, aka Brosa, who was our commentator. We're all like, well, I guess we'll see what they do with this, because they've got to Fox and CNN that shit, because they've got to chop it into increments, because they cannot show the whole footage. They show the whole footage, it will make Terry Crews look like a total coward, because he was shaking in his fucking boots. And the judges were stupid as hell, but smart enough to also be shaking in their boots. And the fans were going ballistic. I mean, they were so loud. You know, a match should be yaying loud or booing loud, but loud. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. And we took photos in the back. Me and Terry were super cool in the back, and he was a really nice dude. I didn't meet any of the other judges. Before we went on, they scampered through and they wouldn't talk to anybody or whatever. So that's fine. I don't care. But Terry Crews was super personable, super cool, super good dude. He would be the last one of those guys I would want to fight, but I would love to get Terry Crews in wrestling. So on your podcast, just say it. Terry Crews, my man. Come on down. Anywhere, anytime. We could do it at AGT. We could do it at WWE. We could do it at AEW. We could do it, I don't know, anywhere. We could do it on The View. That would be fun. I get so much heat on The View. It'd be great.
Let's make it happen.
I would do it everywhere, anytime. Man, I would love to, just because I would just pretend it's Simon. That's what I would do, because Simon wouldn't stand a chance. I mean, like, you know, the sushi, the chopsticks I used to eat my sushi tonight at dinner are sturdier than Simon. So there wouldn't be much of a task in dissecting him. But Terry Crews, that's a big dude. It's a big cat. Like, we're about the same size. And, you know, he's got better, I was thicker than he was, but he's more ripped than I am. Mm-hmm. But pound for pound, we're just about the same size. And I'm just shy of 250 pounds. He's got to be right around there. He's a big cat. Mm-hmm. And I would definitely love to take him for a spin. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. That'd be awesome.
So there you go. So that story, I have not told that story ever, not once. you know, off camera in private circles, a couple people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight with you guys, why the heck and heck
I
not?
appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so
there
much.
go.
What a
So
way to send
I
this off.
think I think for you guys to get some extra steam out of this, you know, the caption is Sinn Bodhi heels on Terry Crews and Simon Cowell.
Yeah,
Crazy
that'll be the clickbait.
Yeah, because again, like I wanted him to come down so bad and chase me off and make me look like a dickhead bad guy, but he just like there's no way they can air it because he'll look like a total pussy, and the judges will look like dumb fucks.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure the producers know that. I'm pretty sure as egotistically blind as the talent are, they probably in their heart of hearts know that.
Yeah.
So, you know, they showed little clips of me, you know, whatever, but all that's out of context. Again, that's some CNN Fox kind of style to do. Oh, we'll just show this clip where, I don't know, we'll do, what are those smart videos or whatever. We'll have Simon Cowell punching out Sinn Bodhi. That's what really happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What are those new videos called where you can like make your faces look like
Deep
other
fake.
people and all that? What's that stuff called?
The deep fake videos.
Deep fake. Yeah. That's what it'll be. Like I'll get fucking Running Man or some shit. Austin Bodhi told everybody to get to the chopper, and you know, but really, yeah. It was not Simon Cowell punching me out. It was me just, you know, trying not to beat all those judges and not to kill Terry Crews. So there you go. But I would have handled him with kid gloves in the most sports entertainment of ways. But he just didn't know that because. Again, I love when I say love, I think it's super stupid, the term worksheet. So he's like, I don't know about that guy. I'm like, then I did my job, motherfucker.
Well, thank you again so much for coming on. And
You're
we
welcome.
look forward to talking to you again in the future. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime, boys. You guys have a great night.
Thank
And
you.
I will just simply tell you both and everybody listening and watching, be safe, be smart, be kind.
Hey, everybody, it's Morty.
It's Brian.
And thank you for watching today's episode of Developmentally Speaking.
If you could, please click that subscribe button.
And don't forget to punch that bell icon so you can get notified whenever we go live or drop a new video every Monday. Well, thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you on the next
Developmentally Speaking.